Tonight, we review a 1911 that has a shocking feature. We spray paint some things, and we talk about 7075 T6 aluminum. It's all happening now on the 1911 Syndicate. It's the age-old stupid question that is asked of every pistol. Does it take Glock mags? Well, no, because it's a 1911. But this 1911 is a little bit different. It's brought to you by a lesser-known name, but one that's doing some interesting things. Alpha Foxtrot. This gun does in fact take Glock mags. But because the kids these days will call 10-round magazine capacity a boomer's gun, Alpha Foxtrot brands this the S15 model, meaning it's designed to run on shield arms mags, giving you renegades your beloved 15+1 capacity. Everyone, here it is. It's an interesting gun. We're going to talk all about it. So this is the S15 model from a company called Alpha Foxtrot. Yeah. It's got an interesting feature. We'll go all into it. I think you guys are going to like some of the stuff that you see here. What I'm going to tell you, kind of at the start of this video, is there's a surge. Well, here's just a little context as we get into this, right? Obviously, the Glock world, is huge and everything. And but I think within the Gucci Glock world, people started to figure out that, hey, man, with $2,500 I drop on a Gucci Glock, I could actually go get an entry-level 2011 or, good 1911
good
at
argument.
That point, right? So, it's a good argument. I think that's part of the rise of staccato. What we're seeing now is more and more people getting into the space of double-stacked 1911s. Of course, that wouldn't be necessarily called a 2011 because if your name is not staccato, you can't call it a 2011. For copyright things. But there is a surge of double-stacked 1911s hitting the market that run on alternative magazines, whether that be SIG P320 mags or Glock mags or this or that or whatever the thing is.
Sure.
And that's the exact category that this falls into. Before we start getting into it, relationship with Alpha Foxtrot. So kind of... interesting. We were at SHOT Show. We're the Monday of SHOT Show. They actually have like a media industry day at a range out there, and so Chris and I were at that. Apparently, we qualify as media, which borderline is like an insult to media professionals.
100%.
But we're there. One of the booths waves us in. And they say, hey guys, you gotta check this out. We got this, these 1911s that run on shield arms mags, which is a Glock pattern mag for Glock 48s. We say, oh, that's kind of interesting. And you never know what's good or not good after a six rounds they let you shoot. But it's enough to at least go, that's interesting, and I'd like to learn more. So we went by their booth, talked to them at SHOT Show, and we just said, hey, this is interesting enough. Well, sure. Let's go for it. Let's do a review. So they sent out the gun for the review. That's where the gun came from. So don't think that a free gun really clouds my judgment on what is a good firearm or not. I can be honest with you guys on pros and cons and all that kind of stuff regardless. Before we get into it, big thanks to the sponsor of today's video. It's a company called Infinity Target's new sponsor here. So I just welcome them to the channel.
They're local to me. Did you know that?
I did, actually. Yeah. They make a really cool, basically, rubber self-healing target. It's quite cool. You just take spray paint, you spray paint these bad boys down, and then you shoot them, and then when your target's getting a little cluttered up, you go paint it again. Yeah. They take, my friend, 110 rounds per square inch. And you know what that is? A lot of rounds? I don't know. It was more of a question. I don't know. A lot of rounds? I think that's a visibility
I thought you were going to say something clever.
Yeah, no, I didn't have any scientific perspective, but
Continue.
110 rounds per square inch. The visibility is actually quite good. That was my concern getting them in, is like, you're going to be able to actually really see your hits? Actually see your hits quite damn well.
Very well.
So quite happy with that. And what's really neat compared to some of the alternatives, they're actually standard target outlines, if you will. With like it's a IPSC target, essentially, right? Or USPSA, whatever you want to call it, right? So you got your A zone, C zone, all that kind of stuff. There's a code you guys can plug in. It is Syndicate 15. I think the S is capitalized there. Just give it a shot. But Syndicate 15, that'll save you guys some bucks off their targets. Pretty neat. They got some cool options. Check it out. Thanks to those dudes. Okay, so before we start getting into like, how's the trigger and the fit and finish, all that kind of stuff, we will get there. But let's give you a little bit of context, brief kind of background on the company. We always try to do that because I think it helps you guys understand a little bit about who these companies are.
It's just kind of cool too.
And I like to support companies that I like, and I'd like to know a little bit about the company. So Alpha Foxtrot has a parent company. It's based in South Korea. It's called, I don't know if they say Daesan or Dasan.
It's Dasan.
Okay, so that's the parent company for Alpha Foxtrot.
Yep.
I don't know if you knew that. Did you know that?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I met the owner at a CGS event previous to
oh, shit.
SHOT
Okay, well, there you go. Yeah. So Daesan, big company in South Korea. They're basically a big manufacturer of OEM parts and components. So they do a lot of OEM work. It's basically like a machine shop that OEMs a lot of parts and components. Alpha Foxtrot's the U.S. like subsidiary, whatever you want to call it, of that. They opened I found this quite impressive, 80,000 square foot facility in Georgia. That's a big space. That's a big space there, fellas. 80,000 square foot manufacturing facility, like hot damn, So Alpha Foxtrot still, in the U.S. Is still doing parts manufacturing, OEMing parts for other companies and things like that.
Yeah.
But now this is Alpha Foxtrot is really their, this is their venture into doing complete firearms also. Sure. There's a couple things that just by logical deduction that you can walk away with there. That because they manufacture parts and components, that means this isn't like they're white labeling someone else's shit and just say, hey, this is our Alpha Foxtrot gun. It's like, well, they make this.
Yeah,
it's like they make this. Down to the fact that I thought was really interesting, because I was asking the guy, I try to do interviews with companies heading into this to get you guys real information. And I always just say, hey, to the extent that you're comfortable telling me, what is made? Like, what do you guys make? I don't usually ask them what they don't make, just because it's, sometimes you're just kind of pushing a little beyond your pay grade.
Yeah.
But, what do you guys make? And they're like, dude, we like make everything. Now, I don't know if it's actually everything. Everyone relax there. But it's like the vast majority of what you're seeing here, they actually make themselves. Because, of course, they are a machine shop. They do manufacturing to the extent that they actually manufacture their own machines.
Really?
Which is kind of interesting.
That is very cool.
So it's like they actually control their production down to the point of the machines that are actually making the shit that they turn around and sell.
Pretty cool.
Which is pretty interesting. Basically, all the pistols that they are now making are of the 1911 variety. That's kind of where they've decided to jump into that world, which is a bold move, Cotton, because, hey, that's a...
as a purist yourself, that can be a difficult industry.
Well, we're a difficult crowd, because we expect a lot. What I think is cool, the price range of these is about $1,490, but most of their 1911s start around $1,300.
Okay.
So they're playing in this territory that's really not a lot of options, which is in this kind of like, I wouldn't call it entry level. I'd say anything less than 1,000 is entry level. Sure. In the 1,000 to 2,000, I'm going to say you're kind of in the mid-tier.
Mid-grade.
Maybe up to 2,500 within 1911s. I get it.
Sure.
$2,000 is a very expensive pistol. In 1911 world, you're kind of in the midi territory there. So just to show you a little on how these things work in regards to the mags, we'll take you to some footage now. Even though they call the Alpha Foxtrot gun the S15, obviously it's meant to run on the shield mags. That's kind of what they designed it with the intent of. Just to show you guys real quick. That is a standard Glock 48 mag and a Glock 48, right? And then grab that, pass me this. 48 mags. Honestly, still wind up running fine in the Alpha gun. So, still get locked back.
Kind of cool.
Mag drops freely.
Then the best Glock, best mags on the market.
Well, it's a mag. And it is on the market. So those two things are accurate, my friend. Before we get into the gun here, if you guys are looking for any way to support the channel, go to 1911syndicate.com. That would be appreciated. Over there, you'll figure out pretty quickly that we make real estate suck less. That's kind of our tagline, because at the end of the day, real estate really sucks. It's a boring, painful process, but we try to make it less painful and have fun and give you guys cool things when you actually get a house and all that kind of stuff. So go check that out. We've also got the Patreon. That will be linked below. We got merch on the site, newsletters. Like, just go to the site, get involved, support your creators. There you go. All right, let's talk about the gun. So here's the first thing that I'm going to tell you about that. So that is a production gun. That is in really no way, shape, or form a custom gun, and they're very upfront about that. To which I say, thank you for just letting me know what it is that I'm getting.
Yeah.
Because there are so many, especially once you start talking 1911s, there's so many companies that want to play in like custom gun territory. And that is a term that has been bastardized by reviews that have been done on things like the Springfield Echelon, where you're like, look, I have no opinion on that gun. It looks pretty cool. We did not, so that we can go ahead and clear this up. No, we were not part of the 50 channels that got one to review. Like, we didn't make the cut for whatever. I wonder why. I don't know. You know, probably because I run my mouth too much. But yeah, you know, when the term like it's a custom gun that's $600 or something, it's like, well, you're just bastardizing the term custom gun at that point. Like, can we start calling custom things custom? Start calling production things production? Like, let's start being honest about it. So this is a production gun. This is not being hand fit. And it's being machined to a looser tolerance. And they're upfront with me on that, and I'm going to be upfront with you about that. I appreciate that information.
Absolutely.
Thank you for letting me know what I've got, because I almost never have a problem with what I'm getting as long as the price per what I'm getting is fair. I just want to know what the hell I'm getting, and they're very upfront about that, and I appreciate it. So it is made, like I said, with slightly looser tolerances, so that in part, so that parts can be swapped in between guns. So that hypothetically, I don't know, whatever, you had two of these and you're like, oh man, I wonder if one slide would go on the other grip. You're like, you should be good. Yeah. You know, you should be good to go on that, which is cool. And on a, you know, high end, you know, hand fit 1911
it's not happening.
It's not going to happen. It's just, it's not what they're meant to do.
Correct.
You know, it's all hand fit. This part made to go with this gun. The looser tolerance is also going to mean that the gun is more forgiving when it comes to reliability. Much to my shock, I will tell you, I have not had a single hiccup, not even a hint of a hiccup on this gun.
I mean, I've asked you that off camera, like throughout the review process. Like, Jake, level with me here, man. And you have been completely honest, as I would expect you. You've had zero issues. And
not
the
one.
rounds I put through it, both here in the CGS event, no issues.
Yeah, including on actual Glock mags, which, sure, I get it, dimensionally they're the same thing, but it's like, this is meant to go with shield mags.
Yeah.
I mean, I've run a decent amount on Glock mags just to go, I don't know, let's just see where the failure points are. Yeah. Not a single hiccup. I mean, not even a hint of it. I threw some oil on it the first day. I've had this gun for at least 2 months, maybe pushing 3 at this point. And I've just slow rolled this review. I take it out, I shoot like 100 rounds. Take it out next week, shoot 100. I've done that basically like every week for like a couple of months or something. Yeah. You know, I'm not at like 5,000 rounds on this. I don't know. After today, probably 700 rounds. Okay. But it's a round count where I feel comfortable with the story at this point. It's like, I kind of got it. Yeah. And the fact that there's no malfunctions on a 1911 from a company I'd never heard of prior to 5 months ago, I don't know. To me, that's like, hey, well done.
Kinda cool.
Well done. Yeah. So that's one of the things that the looser tolerances are going to get you, even though you won't feel them. That's the truth. Is that when you're just playing around with like slide to frame and everything. So throw the safety up so the slide's not moving on that. But play with that. Tell me where the like looseness is, though.
I mean, there's none north and south or east and west.
There's no play frame to slide, even though I understand it's not hand fit. There's no play.
No, that's actually good tolerances. Huh?
You know, so I'm like, okay, you guys are self-admitting it's looser tolerances, but I'm not really seeing where that's coming from, aside from some of the refinement and things like that. But the looser tolerances are also how they're going to keep the price point at a level that's acceptable to a lot of people. Yeah. So I don't really have an issue with that. I'm totally good with that. On the frame, well, yeah, we kind of talk about the frame a little bit. So clearly the gun's meant to run on, it's meant to run on shield arms mags. What does that tell you? Well, it's meant to be primarily a carry gun.
Yeah.
That's what the
duty gun. Yep.
shield mags were. You know, I wouldn't call it a duty gun in the sense of like OWB duty cop gun.
Sorry, CCW duty.
Gun. Yeah. Still technically duty, just, you know, CCW.
Yeah, semantics, yeah.
But the frame is 7075 T6 aluminum.
Big fan.
That does always have been since day one.
Yeah.
When I was 2 years old.
Same.
I said that to my mom.
Yep.
I was like, one day, 7075 T6.
My favorite.
We're gonna be best buds, you know. So I think probably the first time we met, we probably looked at each other and we were like, 7075?
And I was like, T6? Yeah.
Yeah, Doc. You know, and it was, I don't know, it's been magical ever since then. Yeah, the things that we do. How are we still on? How have we not been shit canned from YouTube?
I don't know.
Why do people watch this show? Why do people
bad
watch
for you
this
guys.
stuff? The aluminum frame does keep the weight down a little bit. So the gun empty 28.5 ounces. That's actually pretty lightweight gun. And I carry a 1911 every day. It's on an aluminum frame. So really, this is in the wheelhouse of things that I would carry. So we've got that. The grips, if you will notice, basically the frame is all one piece. You're not seeing, unlike a 1911 where there's the frame and then there's grips, this is not that.
It's all one.
And unlike a 2011 where there's the frame and there's basically the grip module, this is not that. This is basically one, this is just one component. Obviously there's grip safeties and things like that, but when it comes to the actual frame and the grips, it's all one piece. The grip texture itself, to me, is in the adequate category, which for a carry gun, I'm totally fine with it.
Is it 20 LPI on the rear and front?
I don't think so. Okay. I don't think so. I don't even know if I wrote that down.
You like that stat?
I did not. I did.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I did. He's got the lingo down now and everything. But the grip texture is completely adequate for a carry gun. Carry gun, I don't want super aggressive grip texture because, you know, belly fur is a real thing, you know? So we got that. We do have checkering on the front strap mainspring housing. Trigger would probably be one of my criticisms. I would say the trigger could be better. It's not real clean for a 1911 trigger. It's acceptable. On a production gun that is like a mid-tier $1,500 production gun, it's acceptable. It's completely fine. If we now said, hey, this is $3,000 now, I'd go, okay, guys, we got to do better on the trigger.
Sure.
But hey, this is,
not what that is.
Yeah, this is not a, hand-tuned trigger and everything. Would I like to see maybe half pound to a pound taken off of it? Sure. But again, it's carry gun, so I can split hairs on that one.
Yeah.
I can debate that either way. Single side safety. So on my side of the gun, we do not have an ambidextrous safety, which is why you will not see me drawing this from a holster, because I didn't even make a holster for it, because I'm like, what am I going to draw and do? I ain't got a safety I can take off.
Sure.
So at this stage of their, what they have out, their single side, they will be coming out with an ambidextrous safety on, I think they said maybe like 6 months.
Oh, cool.
They'll be going to an ambi safety on these. So which will be cool, which for me will be very helpful. Moving to the slide, so you'll notice on mine, iron sights only, not cut for a dot yet. If you go to their site, you will see that, like the little thumbnail image they have on their sales page that has it with a dot. So that is coming mid-August. I would tell you, I would 100% get that. I don't actually particularly care for these irons. It's this adjustable rear sight that's, the kind of Novak style versus a ledge. I do think they're actually working on, they're going to start doing different irons. But cool. I don't really like the adjustable thing. It makes the zero of the irons just a little
feels
weird.
Wonky.
Yeah, so don't love the irons, but again, those are going away pretty soon, and you'll have the option for a dot and or different irons. That's 100% what I would do, but that's just my 2 cents. That will also be cut for a Shield RMSC footprint, which is basically your Sig Romeos and your Holosun 507K, which is a completely acceptable, good footprint. Might even take the carry version of the EPS. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's the same footprint.
Ooh, it probably is, though. Dimension-wise, it's going to be...
Quote me on that, because obviously it's open versus closed emitter, so don't quote me on that, but maybe. Do your homework. The finish, polished DLC. So it's DLC, but it's polished DLC.
Yeah, it's nice.
I'll tell you, I'm kind of mixed on the finich.
Just because
I
the
don't know
fingerprints?
that it's the polished side. I'm not a polish finish guy.
Okay.
DLC, great, durable, solid. I love DLC. The polish, I've kind of been back and forth on. I don't know, just back and forth on. You know, that's aesthetics. That's functionally it's DLC.
Yeah.
Just aesthetics at that point.
Cool.
It's, hey, what do you like or not like? It does also, this one has a threaded barrel. I will tell you, I've not even hinted at shooting this thing suppressed because it's a carry gun. I don't even know why we have a threaded barrel on it, to be perfectly honest with you.
I do like that it's shipped with one though.
Yeah, it's cool. I don't really like, you know, if I have like 2 gun pistols with threaded barrels, like cool. If I need to shoot a suppressed pistol, I grab my Mark 23. You know?
Yeah, there might be some guys doing some, you know, wet work that need a threaded barrel. So
no doubt. You know, the boys doing the deal,
doing the thing.
I would just say, you know, but they can do no threaded barrel. So hey, look, if you take this gun for me, you go no threaded barrel, put a red dot on it, and throw an ambi safety on it. You got a decent option for me. Like personally, I'd probably carry that.
Yeah,
I'd probably actually carry that gun.
Yeah,
because again, no reliability issues whatsoever.
Checks all your boxes.
If you say, look, I don't need a threaded barrel, aesthetically, they're just not my favorite. I got a red dot and I got an ambi safety. Yeah, I carry that. I legit would carry that. You know, so it's like, hey, there's a couple things. And those are all options you guys have or are going to have by like mid-August. So it's like, hey, you know, very interesting. The action is, you know, with the polished DLC, the other thing it does, it's a really smooth action.
It is.
On a production gun.
Yeah.
Like on a production gun, which are usually, you know, clunky, it's a very glassy action. And that's in large, yeah, and that's not even a ledge rear sight, you know? It's like, and part of that is from that polish. It's got that lubricity and all that kind of stuff. And
Sure.
You're like, okay, you know, again, not much I can really pick apart there.
Lube's important.
No doubt. So just some kind of final thoughts. I thought of this at like most of my ideas come at like 6 o'clock in the morning and I'm leaving for the gym early the other morning. And I don't know why this ran through my head, but I thought, you know, there are videos that we get presented with is like, hey, would you like to do this video? Where you're like, hell yeah, I want to do that video.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm all about that. On the opposite end of the spectrum, there's ones where they're like, hey, do you want to do this video on this piece of shit red dot? And you're like, hell no.
Yeah.
Like hard hell no pass for me. And then there's ones where you're like, hey, do you guys want to do a review on this thing? You kind of sit there for a minute and you're like, okay, sure.
Yeah.
I'm not like, hell yeah, I'm not hell. No, I'm like, let's give it a go.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, we'll see. I don't know that I'm like really into it. I don't know. Let's go for it though.
Sure.
Why not? Let's just see how this pans out. And this was in that category for me, which sounds like a dig. It's not how I mean it because I didn't really expect to like this. I kind of went into it going, you know, this is going to be like a shitty 1911 from a new company. That's what I thought, if I'm being honest. Like, it sounds a
and
little...
no offense to them.
It sounds a little bougie and snobby, but it's like, I thought this was going to be in the, like, guys, you know, come on. But not a single hiccup with features between aluminum grips and everything else at a price point where I'm just like, well, I ain't really got that much I can criticize here.
I think you'd be grasping at straws, to be honest.
I am. Like, I mean, again, at like $1,500 and with the fact that this is running on a magazine that's very popular.
Very easy to
that
find.
Now is very easy to find. Back, you know, 2019 and that range, like shield mags are going for like $100 a pop. Which at that point, you're like, shit, dude, I'll just go buy a 2011 at that point. But it's like these now, I mean, I bought these at a local shop for like $30.
Yeah.
You know, they're just sitting on the shelf. Like, no problem to find the shield mags. You go, okay, so you're telling me you got a $1,500 1911 that, as best I can tell, mine's completely reliable. And this is, again, they didn't make this one for me. They just pulled this off the line and sent it to me.
Yeah.
That's running on a popular magazine that shoots nice and everything. You're like, hot damn, you know, you might really have something there from a company that most of you probably never heard of prior to this video, because I couldn't really find any videos on this when I searched. So you're just like, okay, guys, well done. Well done. And it's about as honest as I can make this. A couple little things that I would tweak, which they're already working on, but shit, man, you tweak a couple things, I'll carry that.
And for you being a bougie 1911, 2011 guy, it's cool, right?
Yeah.
Reviews like this are fun and like...
Especially when they surprise you.
I mean, throughout the process, when we'd have our like weekly meetings on content, I'd be like, bro, how's that going? Like, come on, man. And each time you're like, dude, I'm like kind of pleasantly surprised. I'll tell you at the video, but like, it's going good, man. And I was, again, no offense. I was just kind of shocked, you know?
Yeah.
Like company you don't hear about. The owner is very nice when I've met him multiple times. That's I'm not dogging his product, but you can be a little skeptical, and that's okay. I enjoy videos like this because I go in skeptical, and it comes out like, hey, this is a legit contender and good product. It's awesome.
At that price point, I mean, it's, yeah. I mean,
on Alpha Foxtrot.
For real. So anyway, guys, that's the deal. Would I carry that? Yes, I would. And you know what could, but hopefully does not happen if you're carrying a firearm.
You get into a legally justified self-defense scenario. But
you get in a scenario.
say you did.
Yeah.
You have something called Firearms Legal Protection.
I do.
Which our code 9211 will save you about 1/3 off each package.
You damn right it does.
They have different packages to fit your lifestyle. Also, again, heaven forbid you're in one of those scenarios, you can call, request some help, and you're talking to an attorney.
An attorney.
Not a customer service rep.
I don't need them.
Right? Say you use this, they're going to cover up to a certain amount of replacing your firearm.
Yeah, I think it's like a grand that they give you to replace your firearm.
Lots of good things, lots of good stuff going on there. If you carry a pistol or in a self-defense scenario, it doesn't have to be with a pistol, and it's legally justified, you're going to want FLP.
Yep, so check them out. Appreciate those guys. And yeah, drop any questions, comments you got below. And hell, if you're not subscribed, maybe do that while you're here too. Anyway, we'll see you guys next week.